Hello, this is Nate Gable. Today we're going to go ahead and take a look at some more production risk management strategies and dive into diversification a little bit more. In previous PowerPoints, we've talked about diversification and how that can be a production risk management tool. And the reason it can be a production risk management tool is that we are spreading out our risk in various enterprises. For example, a dairy farm may be also engaged in corn production, crop production, maybe other livestock enterprises. And the obvious benefit to that is that we are not putting all of our eggs in one basket. We are not depending on our income only from one enterprise. The downfall with enterprise diversification is that we may be spreading ourselves too thin. We may be not taking advantage of economies of scale because we are, instead of putting all of our resources towards one enterprise and taking advantage of new technology that's hard to afford on a small scale. And so, like I said, the big challenge there is that in today's agriculture, it's a low cost producer um, industry, and it's hard to do that if we're not specializing and really taking advantage of economies of scale. So today we're going to talk about specializing while retaining income diversification. This information is taken from an Iowa State University Extension publication that you can also find in content. So, specialize or diversify. A strategic decision facing modern farm managers is whether to specialize or diversify their farming operation. Specialization allows you to focus your management skills on one enterprise. Specialization allows producers to be efficient and keep up on the latest production technology. As I said though, conversely, diversifying your operation spreads your income and price risk over two or more enterprises, an important concept of today's agriculture. Because there are advantages to both specializing and diversification, the solution may be to do both. We can accomplish this by specializing labor and management while diversifying income resources. For example, in our discussion today, we're going to talk about pork producers that also operate crop production enterprises. Okay, so this allows pork producers to specialize their labor and management on hog production because the custom operator provides labor and some day-to-day management of the crop enterprises. Now what we're doing here is the pork producer invests their capital into modern swine production facilities, and they spend their time and labor managing the pork production enterprise. They also maintain their row crop enterprise, but instead of performing the labor, they will hire custom operators to perform the field work on those farms. What this allows these pork producers to do is diversify income sources because they are both receiving income from hogs and crops. The advantage of specialization is the ability to focus labor and management on just the one enterprise. For example, in this case, the swine enterprise. We can improve our efficiency and cost effectiveness of this enterprise. The pigs don't suffer from plantar or combine disease in this case. In other words, we neglect our obligations to the livestock enterprise because we're in the field performing uh, field work. We can also free up capital from selling crop machinery that can be invested in the swine operation. However, selling machinery will often trigger significant income tax liability. If you have a small land base and cannot take advantage of economies of size, it may actually cost you less to hire a custom operator than can grow crops yourself. This is absolutely true. And one of the problems with machinery, as we've talked about in class and other classes, is that it can have a high fixed cost. And if we don't have enough acres to justify the technology, better tractors, better harvesting equipment, etc., it's just very expensive on a per acre basis. We may be able to save money and actually do a better job growing our crops if we hire a custom operator. We may be able to gain access to new production technology and management skills of someone who specializes in crop production. We may actually have better yields. We may be eligible for volume discounts on seed, pesticide, fertilizer, and other inputs by combining our input purchases with those of the custom operator. Again, taking advantage of economies of scale, not by increasing our crop production enterprise, but simply by partnering with another operator. We can get a better deal on our seed if we buy 300 bags of seed corn with our or 5 or 1,000 bags of seed corn with our neighbor versus buying 100 bags of our own. When we hire a custom operator, we not only hire you also hire his or her labor. So you get their machinery and you get their labor. With a custom arrangement, you only hire as much labor as needed. So it's a challenge if we're hiring labor to help us with our crop enterprise because, as we all know, it's very, very seasonal. A livestock enterprise, on the other hand, is every day. So therefore, we can most easily justify hiring labor for the livestock enterprise, full-time labor that is. When we hire when we hire labor for the crops, it may be easier just to hire a custom operator. Because we spend more time on the hog operation, you may actually reduce our need for labor. As I said, because we're more efficient if we put our labor needs towards the swine operation or dairy operation or cattle feeding operation, whatever our livestock operation is. A custom operator may allow you to expand hog operation without increasing higher labor, as we just talked about. So some disadvantages with specializing with diversification. Okay, so the obvious question here when we hire a custom operator is the custom operator dependable? Will they do things in a timely manner, in a conscientious manner? So yeah, every plan works great if we have the right people in place. So it's really important that if we do take advantage of this type of a strategy, that we do hire good custom operators. Custom farming could also increase our risk exposure. Crop, labor, and machinery costs are converted into annual cash costs, increasing our cash outlays per year. However, custom farming costs can be predicted with a high degree of certainty. You also your risk exposure can be reduced by giving the custom operator a share of the crop in lieu of a fixed cash payment. So that's an arrangement that can be popular with some people is instead of paying a flat custom rate for field operations, actually have a percentage of the crop go to the custom operator. Then they share price risk with us. Pork producers often say that field work gives them a break from the monotony of working with hogs all the time. But if that's the case, what you could do is arrange to work part-time for the custom operator and work on our own farm. You may find that the custom operator's machinery is more fun to operate than your own. I think myself, I've experienced this. I hire a custom operator on my small farm, and in the past, what I have done is actually worked for the custom operator at a hourly wage. And in that case, I was able to use his machinery, but then also enjoy working on my own farm. And I can tell you from personal experience that this can be a really good strategy. Another disadvantage, though, is if we rent land, our landlord may object to this. That landlord may say, if the custom operator is going to farm the land, well, maybe I should just rent it to them. Unfortunately, there are some people that believe that if you are farming, quote unquote, farming the land, that means you need to be driving the tractor. For example, another disadvantage is that how may we may be viewed by neighbors. Swine producers who have used this strategy say that their neighbors don't consider them to be a real farmer anymore because they aren't around driving their tractor in the field. Well, hopefully we know by now that we need to make decisions based on what's best for us, not based on what our neighbors think is the best. And so while we want to keep strong neighbor relations, it may be best to engage in a good discussion with our neighbors and explain why this is a good strategy for our farming operation. Another strategy is to sell big ticket items like a combine or large tractor, but continue to do some of the time sensitive operations on our own, like planting, spraying, and cultivating. I think this is a good strategy for a lot of people. It keeps us able to be in the field, but it's a good idea to let go of those big ticket items that kill us in overhead costs and large fixed costs. In this way, we can still maintain our labor towards the livestock operation while maintaining some crop work too. The objective is to increase overall income from the farm while maintaining some risk management features of diversification. The income from the hog operation should increase because of the increased investments in capital, labor, and management. Also, due to reasons cited previously, the decline in crop income may be small. In fact, crop income may not drop at all or actually increase. The key is to find the right custom operator. However, with the pressure on grain farmers to expand their land base, your chances should be good. I think most of us can agree finding a custom operator is relatively easy because of exactly what's being said here. A lot of farmers have uh, newer line of machinery, and their challenge is to spread out their cost. And so finding custom operators is a good thing. It generally can be a pretty easy thing to do, and custom operators do value the opportunity because it lowers their risk also. But only a careful year-end analysis of the performance of the whole farm and individual enterprises will determine if you are successful. So you may want to implement this strategy on a trial basis. The first year you may hire a custom operator to do a portion of the operations, and the second year you may hire to do that custom operator to perform all the operations. You may also wait to sell your crop machinery until you are sure that the arrangement will work. So in summary, this is one method of specializing your management skills while continuing to diversify your income sources. Although other methods may fit your situation better, specializing while diversifying is an option that you may want to consider. Hope you enjoyed this presentation, and good luck